old story that I heard yesterday. Yeah, it goes the headlines, man. They all just go to plan. They're framed and fixed and rigged. You know they're all just spam. So buckle down, plug right in, and close its way under your skin. Just got bow from the things they spout, and it won't make you shout. Give me that good news, because I'm tired of the same old shit. That good news, because I'm tired of the same old shit.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the grounds with Giles, Jones, Slagle, and Cappuccino today.
And don't forget, hey, we're going to get a little love in here, too.
Yeah, we're going to get a little love. Ashley's going to be stopping by here in probably 15, 20 minutes. So,
Kelsey.
Kelsey, why'd I go? Whoa, sorry.
I don't know.
What a good friend
Strike.
you
All right,
are.
I'm leaving. The day is
great friend you are.
the day is over.
Wow.
Thank you very. I can't remember my name half the time.
I hope she punches you right
Hey.
in the throat when she gets here.
Back when I was younger, I'd remember that,
That's right.
but now not so much. So back then,
Where am I?
back
Who am
then I would remember it. Now not so much.
I? Because you old. mama.
Yeah. Hey, what about this? What about this week with all the full moons and the weather? I mean, oh my
know,
God,
man.
it's killing it.
It's absolutely gorgeous here in the Midwest. Of course, big shout out to our friends over at Natural Therapy Wellness
Oh, yeah.
Center. If you are stressed, they'll help you be blessed. And I mean, blessed. A house full of massage therapists, hot stone, deep tissue, sports
Amazing,
massage, acupuncture, Thai yoga, you name it. They can probably stretch you, bend you, push you in a way that will
Now we're
just
talking.
set you
I was gonna say
on
now we're
fire.
talking.
Check them out at www.mchenrymassage.com or give them a call at 815-385-8190. And our good friends over at JH Events and Flowers, $5 Friday, as we always say every Friday. But listen, we're getting into the holiday season. Nothing brightens up a house better than a cornucopia at this time. So go over there and you know what? Have Jen and team build you a cornucopia and put it right. Yeah, put it right on
Say
your
that a few
put it
times.
right on your table. You know why? Because back in the day, your grandma had a cornucopia. It was like in a horn thing. Remember that?
Yeah.
Anyway, they'll
What's
do
the
it.
reasoning?
They'll do that for
Right next
you.
to that
Check them out at
cave, you set all stuff together.
jeventsandflowers.com. And of course, this is the most unique show here at 216 Creator Studios.
Woo!
Right there, you're going to see Uncle Pete, God rest his soul. Uncle Pete saying, hey, throw that link right into your URL and join the show. Come on in and be part of it. Today on the grounds, we're discussing then versus now. Back in the day versus day.
Right.
That's it. And Don, all the way in from Grapevine.
All right,
Texas,
Don. Good morning. Good
Donnie
morning.
boy.
Good morning.
says Steve. I mean
Like
Don
Steve.
from Grapevine.
So he's just grunting today.
No. So he's going Steve. So that must mean he's got some juicy stuff. When
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
he doesn't want the
Uh-oh.
government
Yeah.
to know his real name.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, but thanks again for all of our sponsors out there, guys. Definitely take good enough. No way to brighten up a better household day for your wife or significant other. Drop them a $5 bouquet. Just let them know you're thinking about them. And hey, why not go all the way out on the boat and get them flowers and a massage? Because I'll tell you what, like Kent says, you will be blessed when you leave there. If you're not sleeping or close to it,
Absolutely.
you did something wrong.
All right. So then versus now, why did we bring this up? What were we thinking when we were in the shack saying then versus now?
You had hair then.
Yeah.
Right.
And now you
That's-
don't.
That's what it was. I think.
Yeah, no, I don't know. You guys were talking so
Yeah.
much. We were throwing so much information out that night. It
So
was awesome.
how much has changed? You know, the significant changes from when we were younger to what it is today, and the kids today not understanding what it was like, and so we end up sounding like our grandparents. We're like, oh, back.
We're
in
there.
my
You
day-
remember, I remember in the
back
day.
in my day, I walked uphill.
5
in the
miles
snow,
each way,
both ways.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we got a full piano today, and Kelsey's going to be jumping in here in a few
Yeah,
minutes.
it'll be even more full in a minute.
That's right.
You know,
That's
in some respects, I mean, depending on what you're talking about, things haven't changed. It's just perceived a little bit different, right? I mean,
Okay.
give
I
me
mean,
an example. From what? Well, I mean, well, I'm an example of like how things have changed, right? As far as when we were back
Well,
then.
an example of how some things haven't changed. Give me an example of that.
Kids being assholes and bullies. Now they just have an easier way to get to these kids,
Yeah.
right? Back when we were kids, you had to physically be in front of somebody. They could call you on the phone, but you hang up, right? But back in the day, if you were going to be a bully or just an asshole to somebody, right, you did it in their face and you got it, which was fine because you either resolved that issue right then and there, right, by beating the crap out of them or get your ass beat, right, depending.
So you're saying then versus now, cyberbullies, the birth of cyberbullies?
Well, now it's like they can't get away from it, right? At least if when you left that area, that person, the school, this place, right, it was at least not right in front of you, right?
Yeah.
Now, from what I understand, obviously I don't really see it, but what I understand and what I hear, you can't get away with it because so many people are on their phones a lot of times, scrolling, doing whatever. So it's really hard to get away from that. So in that respect, I think it sucks, because I was bullied quite heavily when I was a kid.
We still bully you.
Right. And that's right. And that's because you're friends.
Welcome
But
to
it's,
the ground.
right, yeah, welcome
Every
to
Friday.
the ground where we bust each other. But you know what I'm saying? That's a healthy bust your chops, right? I mean, sometimes things can get a little different, but back then, man, like when I got bullied, it was like I'd go home and I wouldn't talk to anybody. I wouldn't tell anybody about it, right? You'd suck in. Well, but I at least got away from that. Now these days, I feel like these kids, and I mean, I don't have anybody in my circle that has anything that, at least that they've told me, but from what I understand, these kids, it's with them 24/7 now, and it's out on the web, so to speak, right? Anyone can look at it, and regardless if it's true or not, right, that could be how now someone's going to perceive you because of things that they say to you.
Well, and so this all goes and stems back, no matter how you look at it. If it was different, if it's the same, it stems from parenthood. And, back then we had respect for our elders. We were seen
Oh, hell
and
yeah.
heard.
Yeah, you got whacked, especially
right.
you and me being in the
Oh, yeah.
schools, I mean, the nuns would freaking whack you across
Even
the
with
hands.
your parents or family party, or you were
anybody
not,
could
you were more
yeah.
seen and not heard. You know what I mean? And yes sir, yes ma'am, and you were corrected if you didn't. Today it's not that at all. It's what everybody is like. What's for me? It doesn't. Everybody wants respect, but nobody wants to give it, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely.
And respect is earned. Coming from the Italian families, that respect is earned
100%.
no matter what. And when I was a kid, even with adults, I was like that. I was like, well, yeah, no, I respect you, but that's also earned. My respect is earned.
Right.
Today, there's no code. It's just a free for. That's why the world is on fire, man.
Right. Right.
So that would be my example. Kent, what do you got?
I mean, I love that example.
You got any from then until now?
No.
Not to then.
No. Now to then.
I've been. He's stewing.
Can you
so-
see me now?
No. Shayna says people used to be able to take a punch and a joke back.
Yeah.
They
No
did.
shit.
They
Sure.
did.
Yeah.
They did. I mean, as Kent always said, the pussification, right?
Yeah.
So.
In thinking about this, I went a total different direction.
All right.
And I love old guys. I love old ladies. Well, back then it was better. Life was better. Bullshit. You were dumb, young, and you didn't know, and that's why you think it was good.
Everyone
Listen,
thinks that way.
we'll pick on Scott. Out here, we've got a 1970 Mercedes? What is it?
No.
What is it?
What? No. 78.
Allegedly.
All right.
Yeah, allegedly.
So
Allegedly.
here's what I mean, right? When you get old, when you age, you go back and it was so much better back then. No, it's a pretty car. It's a piece of shit, right? Environmentally, power wise. I mean, put that thing next to a Tesla, and it's not even
comparison.
getting out of second gear, right? So
Tesla's already in the garage by the time I get off the starting line.
then versus now, and I will tell you, I'd rather have now. I'd rather have now. Now there's so much better now, right? I stopped out in Galena, and my brother and I are driving through the little town of Elizabeth at 8:30 p.m. on a Sunday. Not a person on the street, not a car on the street. Everybody in the town is asleep, right?
Yep.
The only thing open is the BP.
Yep.
Right. And I'm like,
Dollar General wasn't open.
and I'm like, this is fucking scary. This is, I mean, why would you want to live here? This is horrible,
Really?
right? This is absolutely
Love that.
Me
It's
too. That's
absolutely
why I love
horrible.
it out there.
right. And so everybody gets caught up, well, back in my day, it was so much better. No, it wasn't.
It was just your perception.
Look, ignorance is bliss.
True statement.
Back in your day, Scott, back in my day, you had news that came on at 6 and 10. You weren't glued. You know what I'm saying? If you wanted,
I would actually watch news back then.
You understand? I mean, now it's a product, and people get so dug into so many stupid things, and then they go down rabbit holes, right? How is that better? How's that better? It's not.
That's I was gonna say. That's not
It's
at
not.
all better.
No, because you're just
There's
dwelling
too-
on it
there's
all
too
day
much-
now.
yeah.
Right.
Right. There's too much information, too much overload. That's why I love Galena. What you just stated about made you nuts. I freaking love it, man. When work is done, that the work day is over, right? The typical, I'm going to say the 8 to 4 or 9 to 5 day is over. People go and enjoy their life, right? At least from what the perception, right? It's not like they're out doing things. The place isn't hustling, bustling. A lot of them are good pound of them are farmers and stuff. So, I mean, they're probably in bed at 8 o'clock anyway, but that's the one thing I like about it. There's not a gazillion cars on the road. Anybody that is out is just waving at you. And it's like, hey, how you doing? I love that. So then versus now for me, when I was a kid,
So why don't you live there?
I'm trying to, I'm getting there.
Why don't you could literally,
I live there part-time.
you could literally go live there today.
If I wanted to, absolutely.
Oh,
If I wanted to,
Scott
absolutely.
allegedly doesn't have money where he's got 2 houses. Listen,
I
and I agree with you, Kent. Every generation, they all say the same shit.
oh, absolutely.
But I agree.
But there are
I
key
would rather
differences.
there's some things that I would rather be not like. Listen, having information at my fingertips, I love it. I'm the dumbest guy in the room without Google.
Right.
That's
but
all
are
I'm
you
telling
able to manage it? Right? Control it?
Well, of course I do now.
Right.
Otherwise, I wouldn't be sitting here.
Right.
I know for a fact, and I know you're a bit younger than us, that what it used to be then, and I'm going to throw out a different example. South side of Chicago in the winter, sketching off of metal bumpers
Love
in
it.
the most disgusting snow on the roads.
No, it wasn't.
Being
it
able-
was wet and fun.
It
right?
was black and dirty and disgusting, and you're breathing horrible exhaust. But it was fun.
It was.
You can't do that today.
Oh God, no. Well, they don't have bumpers you can hold on to.
No, and that might have been intentional.
It probably was.
That's another generational constant.
I mean,
Kids
listen,
today could never get away with it. Kids
Right.
today are doing that. Kids today are doing that. They're going out there. They're
doing it on
gonna get
skateboards. They ain't even
Yeah.
waiting until snow falls. They're doing it
I
on
am-
skateboards.
I
That's
am
ballsy.
so-
That's really.
I am so surprised I don't have like mesothelioma or asbestos.
Oh, you probably do.
Due to the fact of there was a place not too far from my house in the summer times we used to sled down asbestos. Right.
Oh yeah, man.
Right.
Oh man, or you used to punch the pipes and watch it
And then
it go.
and then, woo,
It was
it's
like snow. Yeah, it was great.
I can honestly say I
You know?
never did that one.
Right.
Oh, all the
But you
time.
didn't know. You didn't.
Right,
You didn't
right.
know.
Yeah,
You didn't know.
No.
Drew's
You know?
over here doing an ad for Peter Francis Geraci.
Yeah, there you go. Now you're talking.
Right.
Peter, you can send us your check to
I love
216 Creator Studios.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, so then versus now for me would be you actually had to get up to answer the phone. You had I remember back then as a kid playing in the snow, coming in the house, smelling the house, the food smell in the house of a roast, or
Oh,
There was
they're the
always-
best.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
kids don't sit at a table anymore and eat with their parents. They don't.
Yeah,
they don't.
I
I still try to
I
carry
remember
that
the
tradition.
canning of tomatoes. It never smelled good for 2 days when my mom was canning.
Yeah.
Tomatoes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that
Brutal.
Yep.
yeah.
Mhm.
So there's things that are those differences for me that I don't know if this generation would ever experience. Right?
Yeah.
You know, what do you think, Steve?
when you so it's funny when you think then versus now. There's one very clear time in my life where the world is different, and technically two, but it's one period, right? Between 98 and 2006, you had AOL 1.0, all the way to what's in my hand right now, this smartphone in my hand, carrying a computer around.
I love it.
Right. So in that
Net
short
zero.
8-year period, we went from that horrible dial-up noise to the very first iPhone, the first Samsung
Like
smartphone.
in the blink of an eye.
And it was 8 years. It was an 8-year period, and people are like, it's wild to think about.
Yeah.
But like, okay, this is the game changer. This is the then versus now, just like you said.
Yeah.
Man, without Google, having access to everything in the world. If I want to learn to play the guitar, I can pick this up. If I want to speak French, pick this up.
Right.
If I want to talk to my buddy in China at any time of the day, I can pick this up. I call my parents.
Hashtag pocket computer.
And will it be 30 years from now? Where right now we're like, oh, AI is gonna take over the world. This is horrible. And then 30 years from now, we're like, they're trying to take our slave robots away from our AI. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's always something, right?
It is. And I mean, it's how you look at it. I mean, life is about perception, just straight up.
Writing in the back of a pickup, Shayna. Yes.
Yeah.
Can't do
Well, you
that
guys
anymore.
got busted for that at Man Camp, or almost busted.
Right. Well, I was in the front.
Right. You were in the front.
Yeah.
These guys, the hillbillies from Iowa, were all sitting in back.
The Hill Jackies.
The Hill Jackies. And
Crazy's in a goddamn pop-up chair.
Yeah. Thank you, by the way, whoever that park conservation ranger was that did not give us a ticket, because that would have been healthy.
Oh, she was cool about it.
But
Is that Shally back
I mean,
again?
She did one of these.
Shaylee's back.
Shaylee, what's up?
Yeah, hey, Shaylee, how are you?
Hey,
yeah,
Shaylee.
Yeah, she's probably like this. Look at these old dudes. Like, what are they thinking? Back in the day, I would have just reamed them.
It's funny because like you had already said that you reach a certain age and it's like you wake up one day and you start saying back in my day, right? Like, I don't know, all of these things that people are talking about, like riding in the back of a pickup truck. My buddies and I, we took a tarp, we filled the pickup truck with water, and we had a hot tub cruising down the highway. That was less than 10 years ago. People still do these things. I mean, this is,
it's not as
you get in
what we're
trouble
saying
for
though
it,
is
but,
it's right, but it's not as common. And it's not as common as, hey, Officer Bob pulls you over. You've had one too many, and he's just like, "Listen, Scott, just go home."
Jack, were you going to drive?
Right. No cop
Will you
in the
drive
world
home?
does that. Right.
Okay. I trust
another
you
one.
now.
Then
I mean, that
versus-
never happened to me, Mom and Dad.
Then versus
Allegedly.
now, 1988.
Allegedly.
Right.
1988
Actually, I never
then
did.
versus now. The first time that they said you're not allowed to drink beer and drive a car at the same time, and people were like, "What is this, communist China? I can't have a beer on my way home from work. This is ridiculous."
How about the seatbelt law?
I ain't gonna wear it. This is America. I'm not wearing a damn seatbelt.
Right.
I don't want it.
The one, well, I can't think of the company that, I think it was Buick, that they kind of tried to sidestep that, where the seatbelt was already pushed in. So when you open the door, the seatbelt is there.
Yeah.
So when you close the door, you kind of
It's
had no
automatically
choice.
on.
It's always like,
Right.
you
It's
know,
automatically on. I
it
remember.
was
that.
automatic. And
It
what
was
a nightmare.
Buick. Was that a Buick?
I think it was a Buick. Well, GM.
I had it on
product
my
is-
Ford Escort.
Okay, so, but I remember when they first came out that, and I got it, and I'm like, well, this is bullshit. I remember back when you didn't have to wear a seatbelt, right?
Now,
Which I'm totally for.
now
this.
listen. I here at the studio, Mom and Dad are gone. My mom and dad. I brought over my mom's grandfather's Victrola.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's sitting.
I want to see that.
And it still works.
I want to hear
Oh,
that.
it's awesome. And it's
Cool.
creepy.
That's
It's
great
awesome and
music.
creepy at the same time.
Yeah.
And so now I look at this Victrola and I'm like, that's all now. All my music and everything is here.
Right.
But you used to have a piece of furniture that you would sit around
Mhm.
prior to the television.
Right.
And
And
so the
listen to the radio.
changes of TV is going to rot your brain. We're fast forwarding a little bit. TV is going to rot your brain. And now we're fast forwarding again to where it's like, well, you get off that goddamn device around the kitchen table. Right.
Right.
And so the evolution of these things that we want but don't want at the same time.
Right.
So what it was back then to what it is now really hasn't changed in pattern, but it has changed in technology.
Yeah. I mean, there's like Kent's example to the cars things. I mean, definitely better, right? Not as fun, in my opinion. I mean, I shouldn't say that. Some are, but I like the visceral experience, right?
Yeah.
So when I get into it, like, I love driving the Tesla, right? I really do, which is crazy to say coming from a gearhead like me. I like the power,
Yep.
but I hate the fact
Instant
that,
reaction.
right?
Love it.
But I hate the fact that there's no sound. So they can put the sound up. That's what I get into. right? Like I really enjoy
You
that
don't
about
do
my
the automotive noise off your phone as you're driving a Tesla.
Scott's just making it with his mouth. He's like,
you know what?
He's got the cards and the tires.
Hey, that was the best back then. You know what's funny though is I actually did because when I was driving Gary's, he has a Tesla, the S model, the Plaid S.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, I'm like, dude, this is freaking awesome. But like, I feel like something's wrong. Like my motor just died driving down the road. You know, you ever have that happen?
Yeah.
All noisy and all quiet. So I did that. I'm like, I'm all right. I'm going to burn out here. And then, you know what I mean? Started laughing like crazy.
Oh my God.
But, you know, as technology changes and times change, it is different. I think when we say that, you know, back in my day, right, when we felt things were simpler.
Well,
right?
they want to make a point. Older people want to make a point of how hard they had it compared to what kids have it today. Back in my day, we didn't have shoes, and when we did, it was all for the right foot. God damn it, we liked it.
Yeah, we had no choice but to like
right.
it. Yeah.
And so I found myself trying to explain to my kids and their friends, and it came out. Well, you know, back in my day, and then I stopped myself. And I was like,
I'm old.
oh my God, that's where I'm at.
I'm my
You
grandpa
know?
now.
That's
But
where I'm at.
you understand kind of why they did it, right? Just
Well,
to kind
absolutely. Absolutely.
Back in my day, we used to have a percolator. Now we've
Oh, yeah.
got a cappuccino.
You know, it's funny that-
Chelsea's here.
We got
what-
four freaking coffie machines in our green
Well,
room.
what was the one that
Do any of them work?
Dude, I'm having a coffee
Hey.
machine nightmare here.
How about this
Did
one?
it not work for you?
I don't have
Yeah.
enough time to watch it brew.
Yeah, how about
If there
this
was a
one?
pot, I would have done.
Back in the day, someone come to your house, they ring the doorbell, you run to the door. Who's here?
Right.
And someone rings your doorbell today, it's like, I ain't expecting nobody.
I still do. I get excited.
Sebastian
I-
Maniscalco has the perfect skit for that.
Does he?
Oh, yeah. He says, you know, when you're a kid and the doorbell ring, you had company.
It's like,
You were excited. You would slide in your socks all the way up to the door.
oh, okay.
And then you'd open it.
I gotta
Look
watch
who's
that one.
here.
Yeah.
Bob's here. Oh, my God. And he would say things like,
I didn't kill
I was
somebody.
just in the neighborhood. How are the kids that come to see the kids? And
Yeah.
then you had the Entenmann's and the
The
Sanka.
milk guy.
And right. How you doing, Kels? Good to see you. honey.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
And now, if somebody rings the bell, people are diving over couches. Shut the lights off. Get the sword. That's what you gotta watch this again. It's
Right.
great.
That's great.
It's great.
I got to, because I love him.
Move the mic out towards the middle of that.
So you guys speak, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I gotta
There.
apologize,
Okay.
Kelsey, right now, just so you know, before they bust my chops. I said, and Ashley is coming later.
Right.
So if you take huge offense to being called Ashley instead of Kelsey, I'm sorry, but back in the day, you wouldn't have cared. But now maybe you do.
No, I don't. I mean, that's the first letter of the alphabet. So, I mean, I just upgraded, really.
Right.
I like your thought process.
That's
I
fine.
upgraded. Hey, you know what I'm
At least
saying?
it's not a Becky. I'll take an Ashley.
Listen, if she was a
Karen.
she would have already launched.
I was
over
to say,
this
Becky is
table.
still a
You
B.
would've
You're
been-
still right up there
Well,
on the
and that
alphabet.
would, you know, back in the day, she would have. Now she's got to be a little more cautious, you know,
Maybe. Allegedly.
because I might sue her and take everything from her for beating me.
No, you wouldn't.
Good luck.
No.
They would.
That-
I would hope
that-
they wouldn't find you.
So do you think that's any different today? Like then versus now? Like back in the day,
Everybody's
you know,
happy.
well, now everything's litigation. Oh, I'm going to sue you. I mean, back in the day, it did happen, but I don't think on my experience that it was as prevalent, or at least people talked about it. These days, Christ Almighty, you know, you get too hot a coffee. You know, I need $1 million.
Right.
Why? Because I got hot coffee. Wasn't that what you ordered?
If you touch me, I'll sue. That's the big thing right now.
Right. And that was for me. That's just once again, pussification of America. Like, no, don't sue. Handle it. You know, whatever your beef is. I mean, granted, there's certain things you need to, but everybody that's just, I'm going to sue you. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that.
Don't
No,
touch me. I'll sue.
yeah. Oh, wait till you hear from, you know, my lawyer. Like, no, dude, just handle it between the two of you. You know, handle it. Like for me
Where
back.
I come from, if you can't talk to your lawyer, we don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You
Well,
have
But
to
the
be
then
able to
versus
talk to your
now,
lawyer.
one of the things for me that makes me nuts is I'm still like, I'm a handshake guy. If I decide to do a deal with somebody or do something right, a handshake, granted, you have to do paperwork and everything, but if I say I'm going to do
You're a
something,
man of your word.
right, I did it.
Right.
And I'll do it because that's what I did. Good, bad, or indifferent, right?
No.
I mean, unless it's going to cause me to ruin my entire life. But,
But see, I don't know if that's a then versus now thing, because I think there are still people that operate that way, the good ones.
it's
And-
hard to,
and
it's very hard to find.
it
though.
is, but I think that just speaks to the general a feeling of people these days. You know what I mean? Like people are just a little bit shadier than they used to be. Overall,
are they? Or are they
you
more?
encounter a lot more. You encounter a lot more people that are out for themselves, and there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. But
no, there's nothing wrong with being out. You have to be out for yourself. If you're not out for yourself in this life, right? How are you going to survive? You have to, but there's a balance between being out for yourself and being a part of the community and the environment.
But like you still come across good people all the time, and when and even in business, those handshake deals, right? You still come across people that
I'm not saying
that
it's not.
like to operate as people of their principles.
I'm not saying it's not, but it's very much fewer and far between in my experience and the people I deal with, right? I mean, I'm busy, so I don't want to waste time. And, so when I meet some of these people that are just need paperwork or, everything up front, it's like, let's figure it out and we'll do it. That's one thing I do miss. And, with that being said too, the people that just like when you were in Galena, I don't know if you guys were out during the daytime when everybody was functioning. Everybody waves to you. Doesn't matter if they know you or not. They wave, they say hi, or they give you the steering wheel 1-finger wave as you drive by.
Yeah.
I like that. Whether you know them or not, it puts a little bit chipper in your step for the day. You know what I mean? Knowing that somebody else has no clue who you are, they at least hi. Good morning. How are you? I walk by people here in town and you say good morning or hey, how's it going? Some people look at you like, how the fuck? How dare you talk to me? It's like, okay.
Well, don't you know they're kind of a big deal?
Yeah. Hey, I like Pringles potato chips. So you know.
I don't know, but so in a conversation of the then versus now, it's not location based, right? So it's got to be something that used to hold true and no longer hold true. When I drive home today, I'm going to drive through my very tiny neighborhood, and every single person I drive past is going to give me the 2-finger salute as I pass them. Every single person in my neighborhood is going to do that.
Do you know you?
No, none of them know me. I don't know the names of one single one of my neighbors except for the guy that lives right next door. His name's Dave. He just moved in. That's why I know his name. Other than that, I don't know a single person in the neighborhood, but I will wave to every single person because we have that.
Do you do it or they do it? And that's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really awesome, but I don't encounter that.
I got a confession.
Hold on.
Because my neighbors, and they told me their names several times, and I just
because you don't care to remember.
Well, I do. So go fuck yourself.
Well, then why don't you remember?
So here's the thing. We're in the middle of a conversation from across the street. I already got other things happening in my mind, mowing the lawn, whatever. And so the guy across the street from me has Parkinson's, and he's an awesome dude.
Oh, that sucks.
And his wife was.
He's not waving; he's just shaking.
Yeah, right.
right. Can you
24/7?
I see you, Jerry. Hi.
Yeah, 24/7 waiver.
He's funny.
Sorry, Jerry.
I couldn't remember. I just didn't. So it was, hey, my man, hey, buddy. It's always something that I fill in the blank, and then finally there was mail that came to my house that was his. It was an accident, and it was Michael, right? And so I asked him one day just to confirm it. I'm like, hey, listen, do you go by Mike or Michael? Just to confirm that it was. I'm like, I didn't want to offend. Oh no, you call me Mike.
I thought he was gonna be like, that's not me.
Right.
I go
my
by
son.
Chad. That's my
I
name.
go by Chad.
You can call me Steve or Ashley.
Just don't call me late for dinner.
Right.
Right.
So I hear that, and it's not intentional, right? And I just remembered the names to my neighbors on my left,
right,
after about 2 years.
Yeah, at least you did.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, I'm the same way.
How can you not remember the name Karen? I don't know.
Yeah, right.
It's the word of the last 5 years.
But that's the old folk thing in us, and not that we're old. We're just aged. But that is a thing that I mean, for me, it takes me a few times repeating someone's name, and I'll have to do it in my head to make sure I remember them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And go through it because I'm horrible. I am really bad with names. I don't know why. Because you would think I would be good because sales is kind of my thing, and important in sales is remembering who you're trying to talk to.
And I agree. Old school values are pretty much dead nowadays. You know, where you actually carried your own core values and followed through with them and lived by a code.
Well, that's an interesting point. And you agreeing with it is also interesting. Let's take a show of hands in the room. Do you think you live by old school values that that you hold true to yourself and that true to your core? You do.
So-
I feel like I do. Kent, how about you?
the
So
only
that's
way- it's the only way
100%
to
of the
live.
people in the room that still hold true to those old school values that they believe in.
So
So I
that's
don't know.
now.
When
That's
we
a
say
now.
that those are dead, what does that
Right.
mean? Not in this room.
They're a lot. Well, they are a lot less prevalent, more prevalent. I feel, and I think Shaylee is correct on that one. They are
I think
definitely
we're more of a minority, if anything.
Oh, absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
If I went outside and I asked everybody about their values, I think probably 99% of people would also to say that they hold their values in their own way. I think people would agree that they have. I mean, whether it's true or not, I think most people have that image of themselves, right?
Well, everybody's afraid, and I understand where you're coming from with that. I'm not disagreeing with it because we all hold our own core values, but generalized core values that everybody was raised with doesn't fit standard anymore. Holding a door open for an elderly person.
People get offended. Some people get
some
really
get
pissed off. But I
really
held it.
offended.
I had a lady freaking yell at me like, "Why are you holding the door for me?"
Right.
I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, but that's
It's
the
like I can hold it
outlier.
myself. I'm like,
So
"What?
These,
Wait."
these things
I
were
know you
didn't
were
see.
That's
based
because
on
you didn't have
fear.
any pants on.
Man, you follow me around.
Where was your other hands?
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, that's not a question to ask me. Okay,
We already
just
know.
pay attention up here, sweetheart.
But
It's
like,
up here.
but also,
Up here.
so then let me ask you, because one person out of a million people you've held the door for gave you a hard time, are you going to stop holding the door for people?
Absolutely not.
Right.
It was just weird, right? Like,
Yeah, no,
and I
and
get
it
it. I
is.
do get it
And
after it was
that's-
explained to me.
But what we're saying is more in today's society,
Right.
kids aren't taught that.
Here's
They're not. They don't follow through with that. you know?
Here's-
I
but-
think that's where the now
and
comes
I-
in the now.
But I think that's a generational thing as well, thinking that our kids aren't taught the same values, even though, like, I don't know, your kids would probably hold the door for me. I have a feeling if I was walking up to a door, your kids would hold the door for me.
Yep.
You think your son would hold the door for me if I was walking up to a building?
Oh my God, yeah.
Right. So,
That's
like,
'cause we
so
teach
I,
those values.
Right.
right. So I
Right.
feel like,
And
I
they
feel
li-
like
and they-
those
but
are
they-
going to continue.
But they also learn by
Eric says it
watching.
well. Eric says old school values are not dead. They're alive and well. The problem is the minority has a bullhorn, and you better listen.
That's
right.
far more accurate. Yeah, I
Right.
like that.
Shaylee says loyalty, respect, traditional masculine and feminine roles, holding the door open for a person behind you, etc. Here's Kelsey, what you haven't said two
Ashley.
words since you got in.
I know. Can you settle down, please?
Well,
She's
where are you at? Where
she's
are you at?
trying to figure out if
Right.
she wants to punch
So
me or
here's
not.
the
Still,
deal, and this is where I'm going to take this in the next half hour. Here's the problem. The problem then versus now is the law of attraction. When you were young, you attracted an energy and what you wanted. As you get older, you are also your energy. The law. Look, if you are looking for crap on somebody in America or somebody in the world, if you're looking for garbage, garbage is what you're going to get. If you're not looking for garbage, if you're looking for somebody who's going to get upset because you held the door, you will find it. Right? It's a law
Well,
of attraction. It's the difference between then versus now is what you're attracting is different. That's it. You've changed your perception and your energy and everything that you want to attract to be the negative or the positive, right? Either way. That's why I say now, look, and Uncle Pete said it too. When I hit 50, I understand. It's great. I love my 50s because you know why? I'm attracting the things that I want, the people that I want. Right?
well, it's because you figured things out and you're understanding life better.
There were times where I, was always the bear poker, and it started taking over my life, and I had to just get off the microphone and stop playing the antagonist behind the microphone because everything started coming at me that way. Right? So the issue is, if you're not happy, if you think yesteryear was better, then was better, start attracting the things you attracted back then. Right? Don't attract the things that you're attracting now. If you think your life is so much better now, so much better. But if I'm looking for that one P in the mattresses, I'm gonna feel it no matter how many mattresses I got.
If that's your measuring tool, right? To where life sucks because of this one thing and it's not as great.
Absolutely.
I can agree with you on that, Ken. 100%.
Yeah, Eric.
Well, I mean, you definitely attract. I mean, what you're looking, you can always find what you're looking for, the good or the bad, right? It's what you focus on. But for me, I don't I mean, I don't feel it's any different. I didn't know any better when I was a kid, right? To look at things in certain ways. I just did what I did, and I, kept moving forward. Now I actually look at things and think about it a little bit differently.
So were you happier as a kid?
No, I can't say I was miserable. I had a great childhood, like with family and stuff like that. Other than bullying and stuff like that, I think I did. I'm happy. I'm happy then, and I'm happy now. Do I have issues? Absolutely. Do I deal with them differently? A little bit, because I know how to deal with them. And back when I was a kid, I didn't feel I had the power to pick and choose, right? Of who I was with, what I did, what I didn't. Now I do. Now I can push some of that shit away. I'm smart enough to know what to avoid, or the things that I want to attract and how to get to those things. Back as a kid, I just did whatever. I just wanted to have fun.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. If you're going then versus now, if you were happier back then, take a look at what you attracted, how you lived your life to where you're at now, right? I know people. Listen, I had coffee with a gentleman this morning. I loved the guy, right? And he's like, "Did you see what they put into the military now? They put a sentence in that something's going to happen here. Something serious is going to happen here because they put in a sentence that says, hey, if you can use deadly force on American citizens now." Da, 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 da. And I'm like, why are you digging into something? You have to be so. Why are you attracting that? I'm like, it's so bad, right? And I'm just, I just sit here and I laugh when people are like, oh, back then, I love now. Look, I'm happy now.
I'm not by any chance saying that I don't love now. I'm just calling the differences from then till now.
Right. No, I absolutely love.
And growing up in a neighborhood where it took a village, my neighbors would have me in for lunch. It wasn't a weird thing. I got disciplined by neighbors before I got home.
That would never happen. That would rarely happen today.
I want to say that it's not that it's better or worse, but it's definitely different. The world has changed,
right?
In a weird fashion. You can't go and try to be the good guy where you would hand out bubble gum to kids and be like, "Go ahead."
Yeah, back in the day, that'd be fine to do that. Now you're getting arrested.
Now you're stranger danger.
Yeah.
For just trying to do a nice thing, right? And then it's weird. You can't go to the gym and have nowhere to look as a man, nowhere to look in that gym without offending somebody.
Right.
It's just a different world, and it's measured by different scenarios.
Right.
So you're trading off.
Right. Well, let me ask you this. So the scenario with the guy with the gum, right?
Yeah.
Back in the day, it was no big deal.
Right.
Right. Is it really today really no big deal? Or was back or was back then, was he that perv that we didn't even think about, not even crossed our minds because it wasn't something that was happening or society was talking about?
I think certainly a percentage of them were the perv, which is why you don't take gum from strangers.
It's like, oh, back then, hey, this guy was great.
That's true. I don't think that's true. I just think that's perception, and that's what your perception would be now.
What do you think? People are just way more sensitive.
Well, I mean, stranger danger came from a sense that our children were not safe if they weren't around us.
The reason I asked that is when I was in Colorado a couple months back, right? And my wife and kid went into the grocery store. I'm sitting out in front. And this old guy, probably in his 70s, literally was walking around offering candy to everybody. I'm sitting in my car out in front. And he stopped and offered me candy and picked up and had a conversation. Super cool dude. You know what I mean? And I didn't bring it up to him, but I wanted to be like, dude, that's, but weird or it's different. But he was just like, there was nothing to it. I mean, which was great, right? Because he had that feeling and you could see it sparking.
Did he touch you in your no place?
He might have. I'm not telling.
I know you asked,
but you know what I mean. You could see you could see the people that actually probably had that as a kid, right? That brought back memories a little bit. Like, wow, this is great, right?
That's where that comes. That stems at.
So Eric says, "Real talk. When you see on your social media, what you see on your social media is what you follow and search, and they may be your friends. Change your glasses, and the view changes. Right? Absolutely. You go down.
If you wear shit-covered glasses,
right?
Yeah. If you wear shit-colored glasses, that's what you're going to get. I mean, life is perception. How you're perceiving things and what things you're trying to attract to you. Right?
I want to hear from Kelsey for a minute.
I know. I was gonna say she ain't saying
Well,
shit.
we just keep talking over her. I think so. My apologies.
No, you're fine. I'm just saying.
What-
You
Do
know?
you have any examples of what you want to throw on this?
Well, I feel like the world nowadays, it's not so much like he was trying to say, it's not so much like core values have been changed. It's like we always say the spectrum, right? You got people all the way to the right, you got people all the way to the left, and then you have the middles. The middles, I feel like what we all have is core values. We have like, instead of judging somebody, we get to know somebody before we judge them. This world just judges. So I feel like they're all the way to the left spectrum, where they're all in fear. The world is now based on fear. Back in our age, well, I only say back in our age because my folks are all like your guys' age. But that's how I would raise.
Wow. Well,
Wow.
it's been nice having.
Happens when I give the mic
It's
away.
been nice having Kelsey as a guest. Thank you.
Like my kids and my sister's kids are still taught how our parents raised us. You know, so like
Which is
my
great.
kid
Carry
is
that
3
tradition.
and he talks like he's 7. He gets no iPad, no phone, like he gets no technology.
Good for you.
So we're still very old school in a sense. But it's just in the fact of this world lives in fear, where like my dad told me, do not let fear run you. You have to get fear to understand you. You understand fear, and then you walk the path it goes. But this world is all like you said, with the gum and the candy. This day and age, somebody's going to think that's poison. Somebody's going to think that you're trying to harm them.
Right.
But in reality, that could be a very nice individual who is just trying to be nice to somebody. I work in a business where I see like 600 customers a day.
Right.
I have so many that walk right past me. And half the time, you don't know if they have earbuds in sometimes, or other times they're like, don't talk to me. Okay. But then I get the other ones where like 12 of my customers come in. He's one of them. I only know like 4 of their names. The other 8, I have no idea, but I know their faces.
Right.
You know, and they come up and they give me hugs, and I'm like, you're important to me, but I can never remember your name. Because you know how many times I have to give out
hey,
my
you.
name? Yeah.
Nice to see you.
Right.
So it's just, I feel like that's how we bond, and that's how I bonded as kids, is
Right.
I just got to know the individual, but I never actually knew their name. So as an adult, I was always raised, I cannot call you by your name until I was 18.
Right. Well, in fact,
So-
did they have phones when you're growing up? And the example I'm going to use why I asked this is, back in the day with us, right? You actually had to sit down with somebody to get to know them,
Right. Yeah,
right?
conversation.
You could hear what you might hear people talking about that person and their perception and how they feel they are, right? Good, bad, or indifferent, wrong, right, whatever. Now today, from what I understand, you can find anything and everything about, people for the most part, right or wrong, right? But you're coming in, so like the dating sites, right? You pull profiles and stuff. You're coming in to meet this individual potentially with an already preconceived notion of who they are, which they could have lied their ass off, right? But you don't know. So, I mean, to me, I feel that's somewhat of a negative, because I want to get to know somebody. Granted, I want to know the basics about them, right? They like this, they like that, but it sounds like that a lot of these things get really in depth, and for me, it's like that's an unfair shake, right? Because you've already a preconceived notion, you're already judging me before we're even together. So in the back of your head, as we're talking, going, well, according to what he said, this is, and I don't like that, because it doesn't give a lot of people a fair chance, right?
Look, that's happened since the dawn of time.
Thank you.
That is not then. That is not now.
But it's way more.
I look
it's
at
a lot
you.
easier.
I look at your mullet and go, "This guy's a fucking douche." Right? Oh, you wore your collar pop back in the day. This fucking preppy. Fuck this guy. Right? I don't know you. Everybody makes judgments. That's then. That's now. That ain't.
They do make
there's
judgments.
No difference. There's no.
No, I
difference.
firmly believe there is a difference. Everybody makes judgments, and that's part of the
But I
human
get what he's
experience.
saying. I mean, it's like if
But
I
now
worked
there's
at
way
a-
more out there. I can find way more out about you, Kent Jones, right, by looking online, right, and things like that, and understand a little bit more of who you are. And I feel like the potential to have more of not even a negative, just a different view of you than actually meeting you in person. Because what I look like, if you were to read what I look like online versus meeting me, I feel are totally different. Right. And so people will come potentially with a preconceived notion of who I am and what I'm about.
Judge him because he overspeaks. We're all very
Ashley.
respectful. He's an asshole.
Right.
So
True.
Right.
true.
I'm not Italian, though.
What were you saying, Kel?
I was gonna say, like, it's in a sense of like when we look at a yearbook, and I've never met that person, and you look at the one photo and you're like, this fucking asshole.
Right.
Or he was a comedy clown, or he was a jock, or that's all I understood with what he was
You're
saying.
already labeling him.
Yeah, you already label.
Right.
Where it's like you actually meet him and like, holy shit, you're nothing like your picture.
Right. Yeah.
But everybody judges all the time.
Got
Like,
that
I get
one
my
right.
team member judging like employees as they walk past. I'm like, you guys shut your mouth.
Look, I've had
Get to
this
know
up
the
there.
individual.
Eric says nostalgia is a blessing and a curse. Back then was never as great as we thought, and today is not as awful as we think. Adapt and embrace.
That's a great.
I mean, you know.
Yep.
Don says everyone
Not
makes
bad for a
judgments.
person.
Reasonable
Yeah,
adults
okay.
understand their own biases and work to make sure they deal with people as individuals. Yeah, I mean that's
True. The energy. Everybody said, what's the new word used nowadays?
and then
Vibe.
Don says what Scott's really trying to say is he's not as bad as he looks online.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, so I love this, but here's the deal. And I think Steve and I are on the same page with this one. Is there's not that much difference between then and now. There's not, right?
Well, it depends on what arena you're playing in. Technology-wise, there's a huge difference. Person-wise, I feel there are some similarities, and people are always going to be people, but there are significant differences. It just depends on what you're talking. Depends on what realm you're talking.
I think Don said it was simpler back then. It's easier now, or something.
Was it?
Well, yeah. Was it simpler?
But was it?
I mean, my mom
really
is
simpler?
83. Was it simpler for them to chop wood and shovel coal to heat their house? Was that a lot simpler?
I think it was. It
was
simple
different.
versus easy. He's saying it was simple because it's all self-contained. You're growing your food, you're chopping your wood for your fire. Like there's not a lot of outside influences. Times are simpler, but not easy because you're still busting your ass to make that fire, to cook that food. You're waking up at the ass crack of dawn to harvest your food. You know what I mean? Like you're still busting your chops every day.
Yeah, no, hard work. And I don't think, and I'm not judging then being better than now or now being better than then. I think we all want to progress to make life easier so we can think about bigger things. When your life is consumed with shoveling coal or doing those things of survival, now that you don't have to do that, it's up to you to put your brain in the right place in order to move forward. Right. About bigger and better things. Now you have those opportunities. It builds opportunity. I think the differences are based on nostalgia, and not necessarily right or wrong. The Victrola versus my iPhone. Yeah, man, I'll listen to the Victrola, but I also like my iPhone because it's everything I ever want to listen to.
Right.
The piece of furniture not being in my house, taking up a lot of room, versus the thing that goes in my pocket that I can hook up to my car and still carry the same thing.
It's completely different. You're still getting music, but it's the source of the music and how you respect
How
it.
many people had a shelf full of Encyclopedia Britannica?
Yeah.
Who had 6 shelves?
Whoever
of
saw
just
that going away, right?
Right. No, and now you could just you could
Right.
go throw them out because
That-
for a long time they've been outdated, and this has been the authority, right?
This- right. No, the hashtag
Are
podcast.
facts ever outdated?
Waiting for that fax to come through.
Well,
And
yeah,
these
it
things-
depends. Is it a fact about our friend Christopher Columbus? That's coming up. Relevant again. Circle back.
Right. That was Monday. It was Pirate Day.
It was Pirate
Was
Day.
it Monday?
Yeah.
Oh shit! I'm a week off.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Arr.
Yeah. See,
Words have changed for different meanings, or have been adapted to different meanings. I remember when you were woke, that means you weren't asleep.
I mean, I woke up.
Right. And we give a hard time to kids of today where they're abbreviating sus. Yeah, well, what about rad? We did the same shit.
Bitchin'.
Hey,
I guess that's not shortening it
lingo,
up.
lingo is one of those things that always gets me when people are like, "Oh, the kids today and their lingo, that's crazy." Because you're right. Rad.
Well,
was-
you know
was
why they
something
say it's
awesome.
crazy? Because they don't
Gnarly.
understand it.
Yeah.
Gnarly is something I still say. Like I still talk like
That's
I'm
a
a
good
surfer
word.
from the '80s. You know?
Totally tubular.
Smoking a fag, man. So
I've always been.
Smoking a fag.
I've always been
That was-
of the mind that everything under the sun,
Yeah.
males, females, toasters, dogs, cars, anything can be dude. Dude is the universal
That's right.
pronoun.
You know what dude is, right?
Dude.
No, you know what
It's
dude is.
Smurf.
No, what dude
It's the
real?
word
What a dude?
Smurf.
No, you know what a dude really is? It's a dingleberry hanging off an elephant's ass.
I mean, it's like bitch. It's a
Seriously.
female dog, but we use
Right,
it all the time.
right.
Or like Ken
Right.
just said, he's gonna go out and smoke a fag. That's not,
That's a European
there's
thing.
different meaning.
That's
He's
still
having a
accepted
smoke.
in
He's having a
Europe, though.
cigarette. Like,
Right, but that's still accepted in Europe because that is a European term. Well, as far as I know, allegedly.
Yeah, but it's like the term gay.
So Bob,
gay means happy.
Bob is life when I was a child was not simpler. It was just less complex.
True.
Yeah, sorry, Don. I'm
that's
sharing
good
a mic.
statement. That's a good statement there for sure. I mean,
Sharing is
and
caring.
life is what we
Sharing
make
is
it. I
caring.
mean, you can make
That's
it
right.
harder or easier depending on what's going on. But I think in a lot of respects today, things could be easier because we do have, these wonderful things that do help us with a lot of issues, also cause a lot of issues, right? It's being able to, it's like anything else, can be useful and also could be a bad thing.
well, the
Right.
phone doesn't cause the problem.
No, it's
the
no, right.
person
It's the
on the
person.
phone.
It's just
Right.
a tool.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a tool. Exactly. That's what I'm saying, though. It's the person that's using it, right?
This is a gun control argument
well,
right now.
but it's a lot of.
just gonna go there,
Yeah.
but I didn't.
Phones don't kill people, Scott.
I know, right? No, it is the user. That's why I said I've had a shotgun sitting on my porch for many years. It's never shot anybody, But if there ever needs arises, it's what you use.
Allegedly.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Allegedly, but you know what I mean. It's what it's the same then as it is now. You have these things at your disposal. It's how you use them, right? Back
So
then,
it's the same as it is. It's the same. Then
No
as it is
worries,
now?
Don. I'll lean into the mic.
Well, no, it's not the same, but there's
So then verse now is then is always positive. You never hear somebody go, "Oh my God, it was so bad back then, and we had it so bad." Right?
Even people that did have it bad don't go like, "Oh, it was so shitty." They're like, "Yeah, that was great. We got through it."
right.
how many people really share the bad in their life? Not
That's
a lot.
also fair.
Not a lot. Most people don't
Well,
want
they
to say
just
that.
identify
They want to
bad
candy
as
coat
being
it.
tough. That's it.
Well, right.
They want to let you know how hard they had it.
Right.
It wasn't bad, but they enjoyed doing whatever that hard thing
And they
was,
kept moving.
and it made their life better. And that's why they brag about it. It's almost bragging rights, not necessarily that it was bad. Because you talk to my kids today. I talk to my kids, and I'm like, well, when I was your age, A, B, C, D, E, and then my daughter would look at me and be like, but why does that mean that it's right?
Yeah.
I'm
Right,
like,
it was just the way you were, right.
Yeah, right. Okay, well, that's
Just
the
the
way
way
I was
you was.
brainwashed.
Right.
Right?
No,
Like,
Don-
100%.
Don nailed it. I think people that take pride in living through tough times. That's 100% accurate. People do, and then some people take it a step too far, and they're like, well, I did, so you have to too.
All right. Shaylee, what was that time? I feel like there was a certain time period where we had more serial killers than quote unquote normal. Is there any validity behind this thought or no? What was that time? Give me a time
I was going to say.
period.
Yeah.
Give me a time frame. And the answer that I will say is no validity at all.
I'm gonna have to agree with
I
that.
probably agree with that one too.
It's just that now I've got a cell phone and I take videos of me killing people and it goes viral. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all. Same amount of serial killers out there.
We
We
might
just
know
know.
more of them because we got more information coming at us. No,
As I'm chopping Steve's head off, I've got my iPhone, as
Yeah.
Drew said, listening to my favorite music, and it's going viral because I'm live now on Facebook. And people are like, "Oh my God, look at this crazy guy! Oh, he cut his head off!"
This is gnarly, but his head chopping playlist is fire.
Right.
That's yesterday's news.
that's
What is
old.
it? What is this?
That's old
Can-
news.
is he beheading to Kansas? This is
Oh.
awesome. Let's go.
Sensitivity is gone.
I love it.
I mean, nothing.
You need help, Deke.
I do.
We're agreeing with you, Don.
Listen, nothing gets me more excited than walking into my house and my 15-year-old daughter is cranking Rob Zombie. Right?
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, it's cool, Rob Zombie. Nice." Right? And back then, remember, everybody was like, "Oh my God."
She learned
he's
from
the
her
devil.
old man to listen
He's
to
the
good
devil.
tunes.
No, probably Uncle Mike Krejci. But yeah, anyway, that,
Put
hey,
it on great sheet.
Yeah.
music.
He's not here.
Music back then, to now, come on, music
Well,
back then.
okay, let's do this one. Let's compare
Oh.
country music then and now.
Okay.
Big difference.
Jelly Roll helps with that.
Well, no, but country music
Teddy
back
Swims,
so,
Jelly
and not to go
Roll.
off on a total
All right.
tangent, but country music back then was like couldn't listen. It was a little too twangy. It was
So-
just weird. But now it's more accepted and more.
Music is another one of those things, though. While it changes, it doesn't change enough for you to say, like, oh, wow, it's totally different to the kids of today than it was to the kids of back then. And, like, even people, I love when people are like, well, Nicki Minaj, you hear these dirty lyrics? Like, I can't believe they get away with it now. It's like, there's a song from 1922 where she's out there and she's like, suck my baby. And like in the old lounge style. And that's the whole song. And it's like, these things have been around forever. Like, nothing is new.
Right. Well, but what they, back in the day, they would have called country music, right? Or what we call country music today, they'd be like, hell no.
Well, that's because the difference there is country music has changed in where it used to have be a very specific thing. Now it's any style of music you make with a country accent is country music.
Yeah, I like it with a country accent.
So if you get out there and shred on the guitar and you have a southern accent, you just made country rock.
Back in the day, it was country and western.
Yeah,
and now it's just country.
Yeah.
And you're right. It doesn't matter. You as long as you got a cowboy hat, some cowboy boots, or a southern drawl. It's country.
Yeah, I mean, Taylor Swift came on the scene.
But back then, not a chance in the world.
20 years ago, Taylor Swift pops on the scene, 16 years old, doing pop music. And everyone's like, she's biggest country star. And she's like, she barely speaks with a country accent. Then she dropped it all together. And then they're like, you know what? No country at all left in her voice, entirely pop. Let's give her the Country Lifetime Achievement Award. And everyone's like, yeah, let's do that. She's so country.
It's one of those things where music is perception for the person who likes it.
Yeah.
Everyone gets a little something different out of it.
I don't like a certain thing doesn't make it bad.
I mean,
it just means it's just not my cup of tea.
When the Beatles were edgy.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Hey, think about you want to hold my hand? Not in this house.
That's right.
Not in this house. Wait, that was
Strawberry Field.
Not under my roof. You go do that elsewhere.
That was approved back then. You can hold her hand. You get any closer to her, things are going to change. Let me tell you. It's my daughter there. You treat her.
That's why I'm like the biggest fan of the Dewey Walk Hard, Dewey Cox story.
Well, Don, I like.
In my dream, you're blowing me. Some kisses.
I like what Don says though. There's a good one for bands back then. Back in the day, there was a lot for like for me. I love brass. Back in the day, there was a lot more.
Big band.
There was a lot more groups that played like brass, like Chicago. Like absolutely love them. There are bands still today, but I don't feel there's as many, or I'm just not finding them.
I would say there isn't an experience like going old school Parliament Funkadelic crowd members that have an instrument can just get on stage. Right. And then now you're not just on stage. As long as you get on the bus, you're touring with the band now. At points they had like 70 band members up on stage because anybody who just walked on stage was part of the band.
Really?
You can't get away with that now.
No.
At one point, Parliament Funkadelic had over 46 members on stage all at the same time.
No shit.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to have to give that to me after. I want to check that out.
Yeah. They would just grab people. And like, the core band is always going to be the core band, but like it changed. And like, nowadays you can't go to a Nickelback show and get up there with the tambourine and be like,
see, I love that.
Like, you're great. Let's go.
I just love the sound. Love the sound of the brass. So I mean, I do miss a lot of that today. So you know what I mean?
What you got, Kent?
As we're wrapping this up, so now versus then, it ain't the same, is it?
I think mostly it is.
I was going
to say, in a lot of respects, it is. It's just our perception that's changed. I mean, when we were kids, something back then was like, this is the greatest. Now it's like, why the fuck did I ever do that? But I mean, life is is just as hard today. Right. But you're involved and you see more things going. I feel like you see more things, you understand more things because we have way more information at our hands to see what's going on. Back in the day, we accepted what we were doing.
Breathe. Take a breath. What's that? Take a damn breath. Tell us, what do you think?
I think it's just really based on like what they say with the glasses. It's just what you attract.
Yeah.
And sometimes we tend to attract good people that have rotten apples still, but then you learn your lesson and then you just go a different route. Like I always look at my life as a roundabout. I decide when I turn. Sometimes I just sit there and sit on a roundabout all day because I'm not ready for the people in this world yet until I have analyzed certain situations. I'm an analyzer and I consider myself an owl. I observe everybody before I fly in. So for me, that's just how I view world. Then I've always been raised that way. My dad's the same way. Like my dad and I will literally sit and watch a basketball game and we're the two idiots that are up in the top corner just looking down on everybody. And some people are like, what are they doing up there? I'm like, we're observing everything. I can see all exits. I can see everything that's going on in the world. So I just think like that's how the world is and still is like back then and now. Just it depends on some people who want to be front face in front line, and some of us who want to be in the back line. And nothing's wrong with that. We're both leaders. So
You're individual and you're good people.
Well put.
Yeah.
Well put.
Steve?
Thank God we got somebody smart at the table. All right. Well,
Right?
Steve as well.
She was
he's up
late
there.
though. Damn it.
Hey, he has my age.
Ashley.
So he
Ashley's
already knew.
killing me.
Whatever. You want to run down and backs? Let's go.
What you got, Steve?
Sorry.
Nothing. You know what? I think in every we've talked about this before with AI. We were talking about like the future generations. The world's gonna die and it's gonna end. But every generation thinks that about the next generation. Everyone thinks that the world's going to change so drastically, and that our kids are going to be left with this horrible disaster of a planet, and like blah blah, and the world's over. Every generation has these exact same thoughts. I think it's universal. I think it's been universal for hundreds and hundreds of years. Everyone's felt the exact same way. And it's like, it's the unknown of both a changing world and a place that you're about to leave behind. And I at the end of the day, people are always just going to be people, right? So you're going to feel that way. Your kids will feel that way at some point. Their kids will feel that way at some point. And that's just how it is.
Well, and so I think that
Into the microphone. Yeah. There you go. We don't want to upset Don.
hold on a second. Let me fix this real
That's
quick.
right. We don't want to upset Don.
Listen, so the world is perfect the way it is. You're here for in my opinion, you're here for the experience of it. You get to experience the good, the bad, the ugly. No matter what happens, is it different from then to now? I agree. I don't think much has really changed. Things are still the same, just made it easier with technology. But as we go through this, Steve nailed it on the head. We always worry about what we're leaving back for our kids and what it's going to be. Oh, it's going to be horrible if this happens, or if that person becomes into the peanut butter. It's going to be, listen, we all learn how to adapt. And so adaptability, when you're a kid, you grow up, that's already your world. Our world is already over. And as far as our age goes, so we say our music was better. We say that's what we know. That's what's familiar ground. Anything else is unacceptable. That's how the mindset is. I think that's the only big difference of today is people's mindset towards things. And so I guess in the world of today is just learning how to adapt and move forward and embrace what you have. And happiness, I guess, is kind of key, but you're never going to be 100% happy on anything that you do. So take what you got and be grateful that you got it.
Yeah. Well said. Well said.
Is that what you guys got? Are you?
I'm pretty much I already said what
so-
I mean. The big thing for me is just the end with him, just the perception.
Thanks,
thing.
Donnie.
So listen, it depends when your then was, because then versus now, then we had colored, segregation, right?
Did you just say colored?
Yeah.
Well,
Hey,
there goes our
right?
show.
Then,
Allegedly.
then you got shot in the back sitting at this piano.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I rode up on my horse and I didn't like the way that you looked at me because we were drinking whiskey all the time. Then we drug Kelsey out of the cave by her hair. Right? So,
Or
listen.
she drug you.
Or she drug you, right?
right.
Hey,
Well, that's
then
nowadays.
you got
That's
eaten
nowadays.
by
Yeah,
the
that's nowadays. That's how it's flipped.
then you got eaten by the T-Rex. You understand what I'm
Now
saying?
you're eating the T-Rex.
So it all depends when your then versus now is. Yes, as humans, we grow, we change, we adapt. That's how we survive, right? If we didn't, we'd all be frozen in an iceberg someplace.
That's right.
Right. And look, you go ask one of these cavemen who sells Geico, and he's going to be like, oh, back then, I don't want to go back there. I like here. I like selling Geico. Right. So to me, there's no difference. It's what you attract.
I guess it's where you're from too.
Yeah.
Because if you're a third world country in it and you have it really bad, and now you're here,
Yeah.
back then did suck.
Right.
It's based on the individual.
yeah.
Well,
Right.
I was going to say it's
It's funny.
individual experience.
If you were running
and it's
around
perception.
with pygmies in the jungle,
Right.
and eating each other,
right.
it would
Right.
not like Ed Scott's shot, but you know what I'm talking
Right.
about. It's
Oh my God!
you know what I'm saying.
You guys are on fire today.
You know know what I'm saying.
It's funny
The
because
car's a piece of shit.
we've talked about like how things used to be better, or like back in the good old days. We've talked about this before, right? One of my favorite perspectives is like, yeah, it's really easy to be like talk about the good old days from the perspective of the put upon straight white man, you know.
That's right. That's right.
Fought tooth and nail every step of the way as a straight white man to earn my place here.
100%.
You know what I mean? So like, so when you're talking about the past and how great the past was, it's like, well, you know, some perspectives have that and other perspectives might not have that.
Right.
Listen, here's what I this is what we're closing this is what we're closing this show on is, listen, back then paper plates sucked.